right, I think we have a lot of people in our audience, and I want to be respectful for everyone's time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. For the first couple of presentation slides, we're going to do consecutive Spanish interpretation until we switch over to our Spanish channels being open. So I just wanted to acknowledge Avita Martinez Kelly will be providing our Spanish interpretation tonight, as well as Kathleen Prodrasky will be providing driving our slides tonight. So I want to thank Kathleen for helping out tonight. Avita.
Ok, ya tenemos a bastantes participantes con nosotros. Quiero ser respetuoso del tiempo de cada uno de ustedes, así que vamos a comenzar. Le quiero informar que al principio de esta presentación vamos a estar y tener una interpretación consecutiva en español y luego se va a poder entonces seguir con la presentación en inglés, como también en un canal separado en el español. Así que quiero darle reconocimiento a Evita, que va a ser nuestra intérprete para la noche, y a la señora Kathleen Podrasky, que va a ser la que está trabajando con la presentación.
Thank you. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Back one slide.
Buenas noches a todos.
My name is David Lovato, and I'm the Public Communications Specialist with VTA. And on behalf of VTA, the City of Gilroy, and our project partners, I just want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to join us for tonight's virtual meeting. We are here to provide you with important information about the upcoming US 101 State Route 25 Interchange Phase 1 project. Our goal is to answer any questions you may have and make sure you have resources needed to stay informed throughout the construction process. And we appreciate your participation and look forward to a productive conversation tonight. Avita?
Mi nombre es David Lovato y soy un especialista en comunicaciones públicas que trabaja en VTA. En nombre de VTA, la ciudad de Gilroy y nuestros socios del proyecto, quiero agradecerles sinceramente por tomarse el tiempo de acompañarnos en la reunión virtual de esta noche. Estamos aquí para proporcionarles información importante sobre la fase 1 del próximo proyecto del paso a desnivel entre la carretera 101 y la ruta estatal 25. Nuestro objetivo es responder a cualquier pregunta que pueden tener y asegurarnos de que cuenten con los recursos necesarios para mantenerse informados durante todo el proceso de construcción. Agradecemos su participación y esperemos tener una discusión productiva.
Okay. So this presentation will be in English with Spanish interpretation. In your webinar controls, you want to click the interpretation, which is the world icon, to listen to the presentation that's in English or in Spanish. So you want to select the Spanish or the SP button to hear the Spanish interpretation throughout the rest of this meeting. So please make sure you're not in the default channel off, but in the SP for Spanish. So if you want to listen to Spanish for the rest of the meeting, please do so now. Avita?
Esta presentación será en inglés con interpretación al español. En los controles de su seminario web, haga clic en interpretación, que es el icono del globo terráqueo, para escuchar la presentación en inglés o en español. Seleccione el idioma que le gustaría escuchar, español o Spanish SP, para escuchar la interpretación en español. Asegúrese de que no está en el canal predeterminado con el anuncio de desactivado, sino en SP para español.
Okay, so I started interpretation. So let's talk about how to participate. To participate in the Q&A, you'll need to use the Q&A feature in Zoom. You'll find the Q&A icon in the Zoom toolbar, usually located at the bottom of your screen. Once you click on the Q&A icon, a window will open where you can type your question into the text box provided. You have the option to submit your questions anonymously or with your name attached. The panelists and I will be able to see all submitted questions and will answer them at the end of our presentations. So just a note, by default, meeting participants will not be able to see the questions that are submitted. So we encourage you to ask questions as we go through tonight's discussion. And before we begin, we'd like to go over a few guidelines to ensure a productive and respectful discussion. We ask that all participants treat each other with kindness, respect, and consideration throughout this meeting. If you have any questions or comments, please type them in the Q&A section. Our team will do the best to address them after these presentations. Please remember that VTA has a zero tolerance policy for demeaning or discriminatory or harassing behavior in speech. Any participant who does not adhere to this code of conduct may be removed from this meeting. And with that, thank you for your cooperation, and let's get started. So I actually wanted to take a moment to introduce our presenters and our panelists tonight. First, I am David Lovato with VTA's Community Outreach and Public Engagement team. And I'll be guiding us through tonight's session and make sure everything runs smoothly. Next, we have Carson Adam, the project manager with VTA's Highway Capital Programs. Carson will be providing us with an overview of the project and offering valuable insight into what's ahead. And last but certainly not least, we have Bharat Patel, the resident engineer with VTA's Highway Capital Programs. And Bharat will be sharing details on the construction activities and technical aspects of the project, as well as answering any related questions. So I want to thank our panelists for being here tonight, and we look forward to, again, a productive and engaging conversation with you all. So I'm going to provide a quick overview of tonight's agenda so we all know what we're discussing tonight. First, Carson Adam is our project manager, will walk us through the project background and give us an overview of what this project aims to achieve. Next, Bharat Patel, our resident engineer, will take us through what is expected during construction, mitigation measures that will be in place to minimize disruptions through construction. He'll also give us a look at the construction schedule. And after that, I'll discuss how to stay informed throughout this project and the communication channels that will be available to you. And finally, we'll open the floor to questions you provide in the Q&A, where our panelists will be able to address your concerns related to this project. So I want to thank everyone for being here, and let's now dive into the presentations. So first, it's important to start off understanding that VTA is overseen by a VTA board of directors, and we manage a broad range of transportation services that can be divided into several key responsibilities, and I want to kind of walk you through those right now. So first, there is congestion management. One of our core functions is to focus on reducing congestion by improving traffic flow and optimizing road usage. Next, there's public transit. VTA operates bus and light rail services that connect people across the county. And lastly, traffic planning and infrastructure development. We plan and oversee transportation infrastructure improvements, such as developing the development of major interchange projects and highways and transit facilities to enhance overall transportation experiences. With congestion management, we focus on several initiatives designed to alleviate traffic congestion, including developing and maintaining efficient roadways, improving traffic flow through technology like traffic signaling optimization, collaborating with our local agencies such as Caltrans, Santa Clara County, and the cities within the county to ensure projects address those regional needs. Through these efforts, we aim to reduce travel time, improve air quality, and make transportation safer for everyone. And now I will turn it over to Carson Adam, the project manager with VTA's Highway Capitals program, to give you an overview of the project. Carson?
Thank you, David. As mentioned, I'm Carson Adam, VTA project manager for the US 101 State Route 25 Phase 1 Interchange Project. And this evening, I will give an overview of the project. So next slide, please. So this slide provides an orientation of where the 1125 interchange is located, which is in southern Santa Clara County, just south of the city of Gilroy city limits. The main highways, US 101, State Route 25, and State Route 152 are shown with yellow highlights for easy reference. Next slide. Okay, so before I dive into the 1125 Phase 1 interchange project, I want to provide some context by giving an overview of the future ultimate 1125 interchange shown on this slide, which is part of the larger US 101 widening project that was approved back in 2013. So as with most slides that follow, north is oriented to the right, with US 101 going from left to right. So for the ultimate project, US 101 would be widened from 4 to 6 lanes, shifted to the west, and converted to full freeway standards. A new State Route 25 overcrossing would be built above US 101, just north of the existing overcrossing with a widened bridge. And Santa Teresa Boulevard would be extended from the new 1125 overcrossing to Castro Valley Road. Now shown in red along State Route 25, the new flood bridges and a bridge structure over Union Pacific Railroad would elevate State Route 25 before bringing it back down to existing grade near Bloomfield Avenue. There would also be additional improvements to reduce flooding with new culverts underneath US 101 and a new detention basin. All the interchange ramps would be reconfigured. New frontage road connections would be made for adjacent properties that could no longer connect directly to State Route 25 or US 101. Access between Castro Valley Road and Mesa Road with US 101 would be terminated. New bicycle path connections would also be provided by the project, so the bicyclists would not need to access US 101 in this area. Next slide. Okay, so zooming in a bit, this slide shows the existing 101-25 interchange and its deficiencies. This interchange is somewhat outdated, originally constructed in 1988 as a temporary project to prevent left turns across US 101 in this area. But due to increasing traffic demands and the relatively short length of the southbound US 101 off-ramp, traffic backs up from the southbound off-ramp onto the US 101 main line during peak travel times in the afternoon. In addition, the interchange ramps also have higher than average accident rates compared to statewide collision rates. Next slide. So because there's not enough funding to build the ultimate interchange, the US 101-25 Phase 1 interchange project was developed based on the bullets shown on these slides. These are also listed on the Phase 1 project fact sheet, which is available on the VTA project website. So the first 2 bullets shown on the slide, these are objectives having to do with improving connectivity and traffic operations between US 101 and State Route 25, which will be done with improved ramp storage and signalized ramp intersections. Next slide. The third objective is to enhance safety at the 101-25 interchange area, particularly in the southbound US 101 direction, by reducing backups onto the main line from the southbound off-ramp. Safety will also be enhanced through improved ramp alignments that upgrade US 1 entrances and exits while reducing the number of driveway conflict points. The final objective is to support future improvements to the 10125 interchange and connecting highways. So the phase 1 project lays the groundwork for constructing the ultimate 10125 interchange, as well as the planned US 101 and State Route 25 widening projects and future realignment of State Route 152. Next slide. Okay, now for phase 1 project. This display shows color coding for the different components of the 10125 phase 1 project, interchange project, as well as the 2 new ramp intersection traffic signals. The light blue color represents the proposed mainline improvements of US 101 and State Route 25. The red color shows the 2 proposed bridge structures. Green color indicates the proposed ramps, and the orange color represents local access roads or driveways. The overall project cost of $136 million includes design, right-of-way purchases, construction capital, and all support services. The project construction duration is expected to last just under 3 years, and project schedules will be shown later in this presentation. Next slide. So we will go over the 10125 phase 1 interchange project details, which are divided into 3 main regions. They'll be shown with the yellow ovals that appear in the following order. First, it's the southbound ramps intersection area, then the southbound off-ramp, and then finally the northbound ramps area on the other side of US 101. Next. So zooming into the southbound US 101 ramps area first, this proposed ramps intersection is much larger than the existing intersection located just to the south. Today, the existing southbound ramps intersection is free-flowing from the southbound 101 off-ramp with only a single stop sign for westbound State Route 25. This proposed ramps intersection will be signalized as shown with the traffic signal icon. The proposed State Route 25 overcrossing, shown in red, will be wide enough to accommodate 4 lanes in the future, but for phase 1, a westbound State Route 25 will only be striped with 1 lane as it goes to the southbound 101 on-ramp because of the relatively low traffic volumes for this movement. Striped bicycle lanes will be provided on both sides of State Route 25, and the signal will be provided for bicycles to cross the intersection, as well as enhanced bicycle striping within the intersection area. Both of the proposed southbound US 101 ramps will have 2 lanes each. For the southbound 101 on-ramp to the left, one of those lanes will be an HOV carpool lane. Both of these lanes will then merge down to 1 lane after the ramp metering location before merging with southbound US 101. Next slide. So the proposed southbound US 101 off-ramp to State Route 25 will be lengthened significantly to over 2,000 feet, while the existing southbound off-ramp is less than 1,000 feet. The proposed off-ramp will only exit US 101 as a single lane, but will then widen to 2 lanes. The new 2-lane separated bike path, shown in purple, will run parallel to the off-ramp and will provide access for bicyclists traveling between Santa Teresa Boulevard and the 10125 interchange. Access to this bike path from Santa Teresa Boulevard will be from the proposed traffic circle at the end of Castro Valley Road, which is shown to the right, but not labeled. Vehicle access that currently exists between Castro Valley Road and US 101 will be closed since the proposed off-ramp is near this existing access point. Next. The proposed northbound US 101 ramps, shown in green, will have a similar configuration as the existing northbound 101 ramps, but will be located further to the north. The existing northbound 101 ramps can't be seen in this slide because they're covered up by the proposed State Route 25 alignment. The northbound 101 off-ramp will, however, have a longer deceleration length for vehicles exiting 101 compared to the existing ramp, allowing vehicles more time to slow down before the first curve. These proposed northbound ramps also have additional safety improvements, such as reduced driveway access, more lighting, and a barrier separating the off-ramp from the on-ramp. As with the southbound ramps intersection, this northbound ramps intersection will also be signalized as shown by the traffic signal icon. Next. Okay, so access between Mesa Road and US 101 will be closed, providing a cul-de-sac on Mesa Road as shown on the slide. Because both Castroville Road and Mesa Road would no longer have access to US 101 as part of the Phase 1 project, traffic on Santa Teresa Boulevard destined for southbound US 101 or State Route 25 would reroute to the north by using Thomas, Luchesa, and the 101 Monterey southbound on-ramp, as shown by the blue arrows on this display. The next phase of the 101-25 interchange will improve this access by providing the Santa Teresa extension directly from Castroville Road to the 101-25 interchange. Next. So this display is oriented with north up and shows a simulation of what the striping will look like at the interchange. It includes striped bike lane improvements along both sides of State Route 25, with green striping placed at bike and vehicle crossing locations. The future Santa Teresa Boulevard extension would connect to the interchange on the left side of this display, providing striped bike lanes further north. Next. And for my last slide, it shows the overall development schedule for the 101-25 Phase 1 interchange project. The design phase began back in 2019, and here we are today with construction anticipated to start in April 2025. The construction phase is expected to last slightly less than 3 years, with project completion by the end of 2027. The project is funded by both VTA, Measure B funds, as well as SB1 state funds. So next up, Bharat will give an overview of the construction phase and what to expect for impacts, staging sequence, and detours.
Thank you, Carson. And like Carson said, now we have Bharat Patel, our resident engineer with VTA Highway Capital Program, to share what to expect during construction. Bharat?
You're on mute, Bharat.
I apologize. Thank you, Carson, and thank you, David. Now let's talk about what you can expect when construction begins. Some of the major activities include tree removal to clear the way for improvements, as well as temporary lane closures and detours to help keep traffic moving safely. You'll also see temporary restriping and lane shifts, along with the installation of barriers to separate work areas from active traffic lanes. Throughout the project, crews will be using heavy equipment for concrete and pavement work. And at certain point, bridge demolition will also take place. Next slide. We'll also have bridge demolition to clear the way for new structures. So throughout the project, dust control measures will be implemented to minimize air quality impacts in the area. Next, pile driving for bridge foundations will take place, ensuring a strong and a stable footing for the new structures. Additionally, crews will be trenching to install necessary underground utilities and infrastructures. And there may be occasional night shifts to complete critical work while minimizing daytime traffic disruptions. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. This slide highlights how key construction impacts will be mitigated throughout the project. So dust control is a priority. Contractor is required to use water trucks and conduct regular street sweeping to minimize dust in the area. To address noise and vibration from activities like pile driving and jackhammering, VTA will provide advance notice to local communities about any upcoming disruptions. Tree removal is another necessary part of constructions, with approximately 67 trees being removed along both sides of US 101. However, once construction is complete, new trees and shrubs will be planted as part of the landscaping plan to restore greenery to the area. These measures will help reduce the impact of constructions while keeping the community informed and minimizing disruptions. The next three slides uh, will outline the staging of work, construction work over the next few years, along with the related construction configurations. In 2025, the focus will be on finishing utility relocation and completing most of the southbound ramps, including the bridge over the creek. Work will also begin on a portion of the northbound ramps and State Route 25. As part of this phase, Castro Valley Road and Mesa Road will be closed to accommodate construction. Despite this work, traffic will remain in its existing configurations during this stage to minimize disruptions for drivers. Next, please. In 2026, construction will move into the next major phase, focusing on key improvement to the interchange. During this stage, crews will demolish the existing southbound ramps and bridge over the creek and complete the new southbound on-ramp. Work will also continue at the northbound ramps to improve traffic flow. A critical part of this phase includes installing false work for the new State Route 25 bridge over US 101 and beginning construction on the State Route 25 approach leading to the bridge. By this point, traffic will shift to the newly constructed on and off ramps in both directions, improving access and reducing delays as work progresses. Next, please. In 2027, we will enter the final stage of construction, bringing the project closer to completion. During this period, crews will complete the new State Route 25 bridge over US 101 and connect it to the newly built ramps. Once the new connections are in place, the old overcrossing will be demolished to make way for the updated roadway. The final steps will focus on finishing the roadway, including installing barriers, pavements, and striping to ensure a smooth and safe driving experience. Traffic will initially remain in the previous stage's configuration, but as work wraps up, we will transition to the final roadway layout, providing improved access and efficiency for all drivers. Next slide. As shown in this slide, lane closure and detours will be managed appropriately to ensure the safety of everyone on the road. Lane and ramp closures, we will be implementing nighttime lane and ramp closures. These closures are necessary to ensure the safety of both workers and drivers during construction. Detours, to keep you informed, we will provide advance notice of any detours. This information will be posted on VTA's website so you can stay up to date on the changes. Additionally, traffic advisory will be shared directly with affected institutions and businesses to minimize any potential delays and disruptions. So this is the only vehicle detour anticipated for 2025, which is this year. It will be in place specifically for this State Route 25 connection to the southbound US 101 on-ramp and will occur overnight only to minimize disruption for the drivers. While this is the only detour plan for this year, additional vehicle detours will be required throughout the 3-year construction period as the work progresses. As part of the construction safety plan, there will be a bike-only detour in place for northbound cyclists throughout the entire 3-year construction period. This detour is designed to keep cyclists safely away from the active construction zone and will remain in effect until the new SR25 alignment is fully operational. A detour will also be in place specifically for southbound lanes. Again, this detour is necessary to ensure the safety of cyclists as they avoid the construction zone. The detour will remain in effect until the new alignment is fully operational. We appreciate your understanding and cooperations as we work to improve the area. Now, next, please. Thank you. Now, we'll talk about the construction schedule. This slide provides an overall project timeline from start to finish. Construction will begin in April 2025 with the goal of completing the project by the end of 2027. Following construction completion, there will be a plant establishment period that will last for 1 year. This ensures that all landscaping is properly established and maintained before the project is fully wrapped up. As we begin construction, there are several major activities to expect. Currently, we are working on utility relocation to accommodate the new project layout. Alongside that, tree removal will take place to clear the necessary space for the upcoming construction. Additionally, there will be a permanent closure of Castro Valley and Mesa Road, which will restrict access to and from US 101. We understand that these changes may cause inconvenience, and we will keep you informed on any further updates as we move forward. David.
Thank you, Bharat. And a big thank you to everyone who's sending in the questions. The panelists are looking at them now. So thank you for that. We appreciate your engagement. We will go over them at the end of the presentation, and our panelists will be happy to answer all the project-related questions. So VTA is committed in keeping the public informed throughout this project. In addition to these meetings, we will be providing regular construction updates through several channels. There's the VTA project webpage, emails and text alerts, media updates, and community newsletters. If you have any questions after tonight's meeting, please do not hesitate to reach out to our team. We are here to help and ensure you are informed every step of the way. So to stay up to date on the progress of this project, we encourage you to subscribe for updates directly on our project webpage. So simply visit vta.org/SR25. And you look for the subscribe to updates icon in the lower right corner. Once you see the icon, enter your email address and click subscribe. You will then receive an automatic email asking you to confirm your subscription. So just follow the instructions in the email to complete the process. So by subscribing, you'll ensure that you'll receive all the latest information about this project. We will now share and answer questions that you've been providing throughout this presentation on this project. So just a reminder on how to participate, you'll see a Q&A icon in the Zoom toolbar, usually located at the bottom of your screen. So you want to click that Q&A icon to open up the Q&A window, where you can type in your questions in the provided text box. The panelists and myself see the submitted questions and we will answer them. So we've been looking through them throughout the meeting, and we wanted to start at the very top because I know people have been eager for their questions to be answered. So some of these questions have technical terms, so I'm assuming they'll be project-related technical questions. First one is the tunnel operated in a floating slab? Is there any floating slab track? So that's a design question, I believe. So Carson, if you could answer that to the best.
Yeah, I'm honestly completely baffled by that question. I'm not sure it's related to this project. There's no tunnel for this project. Maybe they're talking about specifics on the bridge structures, the cast in place bridge structures. But beyond that, I'm not really sure what this question is asking.
Got it. Okay.
So then, Kathleen, maybe if you could go back to slide 15 while we're answering some of these, it kind of gives a display of the project.
So we did have actually a couple of questions related to Mesa and Castro Valley Road. You know, when we've done our in-person meetings, this was brought up a lot. So we wanted to revisit it right at the top. So we had a question, why Mesa and Castro Valley Road were not included in the phase 1? Why is Santa Teresa extension not deferred to phase 1 and done after this project?
Yeah, so I guess I'll take a stab at that too. So I've actually seen a lot of questions about why don't you add more lanes? Why don't you improve the ramps? Why don't you modify the bridge? There's a lot that we would have liked to do. So I guess if you go back a couple slides to the ultimate project, that's okay. You can sit here if you want. But anyways, at the beginning, I introduced the ultimate interchange project that was environmentally cleared back in 2013. We would have liked to build that project, which would have basically done all the stuff. It would have provided the Santa Teresa connection. It would have provided upgraded ramps. It would have widened 101. It would have provided the flood relief that's needed out here. But to build that ultimate project, we're basically approaching about $1 billion to get it funded and constructed. And based on our funding, we did the best we could. We were able to secure just north of $100 million for the project. So we basically are doing the best bang for the buck we can with that money to, with the phase 1 project, build portions that can be reused for the ultimate project, but also at the same time provide some relief, some immediate relief. So for example, the southbound 101 off-ramp backup onto State Route 25 that backs up onto 101. That was one of the main goals of this project, to relieve that safety concern, build a larger ramp and get vehicles off the 101 shoulder where they're stacking there and causing concern with drivers. So that was like one of the main objectives. And And also with $100 million, I mean, what you see for the phase one project is what we're able to produce. If we expand the ramps further, there'd be more right-of-way impacts and more cost. We are able to provide the traffic signals there at the intersection, so we believe that's going to provide significant safety upgrades, operationally and safety. And like I mentioned too, like there are some tweaks with the ramps where we're reducing the access at the on and off ramps. So in addition to the geometry, the lighting, the reduction in access points, it's improving safety. But again, we're just doing as much as we can with $100 million with the goal of continuing as more funding is secured and continuing to build the project, because for any mega project like this, it's basically impossible to get all the funding at once. So you basically have to stage it and phase it to implement it and do the best you can.
Thank you, Carson. Bharat, I have a question for you. It came up a couple of times.
Yes,
And I know you mentioned it, but let's reiterate. When are we planning to permanently close access from US 101 from the Castro Valley and Mesa roads? Do we have a set schedule yet for that?
No, actually, so contractor is preparing his schedule as we speak. So utility relocation is still going on, although majority of relocation is done. So he's also needs to prepare a schedule to work around the utility companies, and therefore he doesn't have the prepared schedule yet. But we are anticipating in some latter part of month of April, if everything goes right. So within a week or so, we should get a schedule from the contractor, because he hasn't started mobilizing yet. And then as soon as we get it, of course, the information will be out, David, to you and on the website as well. So that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Bharat. And
Yeah.
yes, like I had mentioned in my presentation portion, it's important that you subscribe for updates. This is me talking to the audience. Subscribing for the updates allows you prior notification when Bharat's was talking about the schedule being set as far in advance as possible. Obviously, just because we say April 1st starts construction, that is not when Castro Valley Road and Mesa Road close.
Correct.
The community will get prior notification. You'll see signage out there. You'll see change message signs out there, letting you know that this is coming up. And when we have a date, you'll be notified.
Right.
I also see a question here that I can actually answer. Could upcoming detours and traffic advisories also be posted in advance on temporary street signs along affected areas of highways? We'll definitely be putting out notifications of detours through all the different channels that are available to us. The city of Gilroy is coordinating with us on their communication, as well as Caltrans will be working with us to get out the information on traffic impacts, detours. We'll also be using social media. If anyone in the audience is familiar with Nextdoor, we use that as one of our targeted areas so that we can let neighborhoods along Luchesa, off of Thomas Road, Santa Teresa, let them know when these detours are in effect, things like that. So it'll be our job to coordinate with the city, the county, Caltrans, as well as the local schools, Gilroy Unified School District, as well as Gavilan College. They're all helping us to get the word out when these impacts or detours are in place, or the closure of Mesa and Castro Valley Road. These are all the different channels and stakeholders that we're coordinating with for communication. So I have a question here. Will there be an entrance connection to US 101 southbound from Santa Teresa Boulevard with this project? So I think that's a design question, Carson.
Yes.
Yeah, Kathleen, could you go to slide 15, please, so we can see the phase one project? Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. Okay, so here's the view of the phase one project. So on the right side of the screen, it's not labeled, but that's Castro Valley Road. There's gonna be a little cul-de-sac roundabout. So I guess the question is there gonna be any connection from Santa Teresa or Castro Valley Road to southbound 101? So as part of this phase one project, no, there will not be. We're closing access at Castro Valley Road, Mesa Road at 101. The reason for Castro Valley Road closure is the off-ramp exits right there. So we can't have vehicles going from Castro Valley Road and entering 101 right where the new off-ramp is exiting. We did look at some configurations during the design phase where we were attempting to have a connection from Castro Valley Road to the new off-ramp. So vehicles could still flow through here and access, State Route 25 and then go back onto 101 if they want to. However, none of the design configurations, and we had a bunch of them, none of them were for Caltrans design requirements, so none of them were approvable. So we tried, but unfortunately, we're not able to provide access for Santa Teresa or Castro Valley Road to 101 or 25. So that's where the next phase, future phase of the Santa Teresa extension comes in. That will be the next phase of this project. This is phase one now. But again, like I said, if we had funding, we would have built the entire ultimate interchange, which includes the Santa Teresa extension. We're just doing as much as we can with the $100 million that we have. And we are prioritizing getting the funding for the Santa Teresa extension. We are going to begin the environmental phase for that project next month. And we do have funding secured for the environmental phase. We are still looking for funding for the design and construction phases, but that will be ongoing. So we've heard loud and clear from everyone that the Santa Teresa extension needs to happen. So that's why we're focusing our resources now that phase one's going to construction. Next step is to build the Santa Teresa extension and design it.
Thank you, Carson. You actually answered the next question, which is where are we at with phase two Santa Teresa Road extension funding. So thank you for that. Bharat, I have a question on the work schedule. So one of the questions was, will there be work Monday through Friday, daytime only, or 24/7 work? Can you kind of elaborate more on what the workday schedule will be like, night work, things like that?
Sure. So yeah, in general, it's Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30 is contractor shift hours. However, there will be a need to work at night. As I mentioned in my presentations, there is a need there for the safety reason, and certain things cannot be conducted in daytime, like lane closures on the freeway. Caltrans doesn't allow. So in that case, night work will be conducted. But that's not like every night for all 3 years. It's on needed basis. So that's that. Also, sometime to finish few operations and few activities to speed up or to accelerate the schedule. Weekend work may be required too, but in general, it's Monday through Friday. Yes, in daytime only. That's the general shift hours.
Okay. And I know during your presentation, you talked about detours, specifically when we're working on the overcrossing bridge. Can you elaborate? When are those like the full freeway closures in that section going to be closed? Nighttime, time,
Yeah,
during
okay.
commute hours?
Well, if you're talking about full freeway closures, for example, like demolishing of the existing bridge, right? So when we demo those, that it will be done in section, right? In staging. So whenever we do that, demolish of any overcrossing structures, we must close the freeway. So, and again, we're doing this with the permission of Caltrans, and they are the one who approve these lane closures and require detours therefore. So traffic will be there and detour will be in place. The only thing is the freeway lanes will be closed because for obvious reason, you demoing the structure overhead. So yeah, that's again, all lane closures, detours, and the ramp closures, all will be done with an approval of Caltrans. And that's also specified in our contract. That is, contractor is gonna have to be following, and our job is to enforce that. Yes.
I just want to clarify one thing. So you mentioned closure of the Freeway 101, that actually there will always be lanes flowing northbound, southbound. Just they will be shifted though. So for example, once the southbound off and on ramp are built, we will temporarily use that as basically southbound 101 while they're doing demo of the bridge, and northbound 101 would shift onto the southbound, existing 101 southbound lanes. So they will always be open on the freeway. They'll just be shifted. Versus the ramps will be closed, but they will have detours for those that will shift traffic to the north interchange or the south interchange. So there'll be detours for that, but essentially there'll always be 2 lanes flowing on both directions of 101.
Thank you, Brat. Thank you for clarification, Carson. And again, communication is key. Signing up for notifications is key so that when these detours are going to be in place, explanations of them. I'm a visual learner myself. Maps of what those detours look like will go out through all the different channels and all the stakeholders that we're coordinating with. So it's important for you to subscribe for this project so you're fully aware of when these detours are in place, what they look like, and how they affect you in your commute. We do have a question, and it's actually been brought up a couple of times in our in-person meetings. Is there a flyover planned or being considered for future phases of the 101-25 interchange? I believe it's a design question, Carson.
Yeah. So we did look at a lot of different alternatives for this phase 1, and one of them was like a direct connector between 101 and 25, but that also was not an approvable design. But in the future, for the 101-25 interchange, there potentially could be flyovers. It depends on, the traffic demands. I think, sorry, Kathleen, I got to do this to you again, but if you go back to slide 10, that shows the ultimate interchange. And yeah, so this is the ultimate future interchange. So I guess the closest thing you'd get to a flyover is essentially State Route 25, where it goes over the Union Pacific Railroad tracks, and then it curves off to the right to northbound 101. That's sort of a flyover, but it's like a direct connector. So with this ultimate interchange, we don't really have like direct flyovers per se, but if there are additional traffic demands, so for example, if the new trade corridor is built and connects to State Route 25 and there's more traffic demands, there could be, in addition to this ultimate interchange, additional flyovers that would go over it if the traffic demands warranted it. But there's not really direct connectors plans, as you can see in this display.
Thank you, Carson. We do have a question specifically about Mesa and Castro Valley Road. So what measures will be put in place for Gavilan College community when those roads are closed permanently to access 101? Say, for example, if there's an emergency evacuation, is part of the contractor's traffic plan to ensure that there is notification or what measures being put in place to make sure that the community college traffic is aware of this closure and what the new routes are?
Yeah, I could probably start that question, and then Bharat could probably finish up.
Carson, go for it, and then Bharat.
Yeah, so before the access between 101 and Castro Valley Road and Mesa Road is closed permanently, there will be signs that go up that indicate that there's no access. So people can still drive down Centuries, they can still drive Castro Valley Road, but it'll be basically a cul-de-sac. But before that happens, the contractor will place signs up in advance of that, alerting motorists that there's no longer access there between 101 Castro Valley and 101 Mesa. And then southbound 101, before you get to Monterey, there'll be additional signs placed there to exit there Monterey for access to the Gavilan College. So before any access closures happen, the new sign will go up to alert motorists like you can't access this anymore. So that's one thing. I think we're talking about having some additional changeable message signs out there ahead of time before these signs even go up. Those aren't currently part of the contract, but I think we're having some discussions and seeing some wisdom in doing that. So we may add that as a change order to provide some changeable message signs that alert people in advance about these new closures between 101 Castro Valley and 101 Mesa. Brian, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, so and you mentioned this, construction area signs will be the first one to go. As we speak, we already started talking to the contractor and locate all those signs where they need to go and all that. So that's one thing. Second, David, you will be given all the informations related to this to put it on our websites and all that closures. Also, David, one more thing, I'm sure you're going to do it, that contact all the apps to show that those accesses are and entrances are closed permanently. So yeah, I mean, it's enough information will be out there, notification will be out there. Our website information will be updated as we go. So, and I agree with what Carson says, only the entrance is closed, not the streets are closed. So the streets become cul-de-sac. It's not that the streets are permanently closed. So yeah, that's all I want to add on that.
Thank you, Brat. And yeah, Brat brought up a good thing that I actually forgot to bring up. One of the first things I do when I hop in my car, I turn on Waze. I turn on Google Maps. Not so much because I don't know where I'm going, is what's the traffic like and what's the best route to get there. These platforms and any others that we need to be made aware when these road changes happen, Mesa, Castro Valley, you want to make sure that that information is up to date. So we'll be working with those digital platforms to make sure that those wayfinding apps are accurate. So that'll be one of our responsibilities in communications as well. Kathleen, if you can you bring up the slide that talks about our information on how to coordinate with us, community outreach? I think it's slide 37 on communications. Someone's asking us to bring that up, which is great. If we need to bring up a slide for you to review or you want to take a screenshot, let us know. So here's our information about how to stay in touch with us. The community.outreach@vta.org is our department's email. We also have a phone number that you can call or leave a message, and one of us will get back to you. Visiting the project website too, the best way. And also, again, we always encourage you to subscribe so you get direct information. One of the questions was, will the slides be posted to the website? Absolutely. This meeting is being recorded and we'll upload this to the project webpage. We're also planning to make an all Spanish, all slides in Spanish, as well as the entire presentation in Spanish, and that'll be uploaded and shared with our project stakeholders. There's also a question about how about communication to Hollister residents? Great question. This is a project that ultimately connects two different commuting traffics, some in Santa Clara, Santa Clara County, and some from San Benito County. So if you are registered to get updates for this project, you'll be also notified of the mobility partnership. So VTA coordinates with San Benito County, City of Hollister, Santa Clara County, City of Morgan Hill, City of Gilroy. All of these agencies come together and they coordinate on communication. So it's our responsibility to work with the public information officers in the City of Hollister to push out the same information that you, the subscriber, City of Santa Clara, City of Gilroy is getting. So we're all getting the same information. We're also coordinating with Caltrans District 4, District 5, that's Santa Clara County, as well as San Benito County. So Caltrans will be helping us to get that information out when there's traffic advisories to be notified. So that's going to be a lot of coordination on 2 different counties, cities, and Caltrans districts. It's going through some more information, a lot of good engagement here. I think we talked about Google Earth. Will Google Earth have the detours updated? Yes, but I don't know how long they take to get that updated. But yes, we will be notifying all the different platforms, including Google Earth, Google Maps, to change the look to notify of those road closures. Because yes, the first thing we all do sometimes is put on ways to get to work or get home. There is a question, actually a good question on construction related. Will there be lighting and proper safety measures on the new ramps? Will there be barriers? And will there be new ramps from the 25 to 101 start right at the railroad or going over it? So let me read it one more time. Will there be lighting and proper safety measures on the new ramps? I believe that's it's either a design or a construction question, but either way, I think Bharat, can I give you that one? Will there be lighting and proper safety measures on the new ramp?
Yes, yes, and yes. So safety, definitely we never compromise with safety. Lighting, there must be enough lighting while we are doing construction there. And if it's not part of the contract, then we'll make sure that we implement the necessary requirements for the safety as far as the lights concerned.
Thank you. A couple of times someone asked, who was the construction contract awarded to? Bharat?
It is De Silva Gates and Vikings joint venture.
Okay, thank you. And again, the question of presentation recorded. Somebody missed the first hour. Yes. Shortly after this meeting's over, my responsibility is to post this on our project webpage. So it'll be up for everyone to see and watch. And please share. It's always about sharing. We're going to post this on the project webpage, but usually we don't put recordings of meetings like this on social media. But you'll be able to find it and you can share it with somebody. So maybe there's a neighborhood association or a neighborhood group that wants this information that lives within the vicinity of this construction zone. Make sure that you provide them access to these meetings.
And David, can I go back to that question? Kathleen, I don't know, could you go to slide 18? Because I wanted to make sure that question got answered about the ramp. So yeah, slide 18 kind of zooms in on the northbound ramps intersection. Yeah, right there. So there's a question about if the barriers and the 25 northbound on-ramp to 101 would start by the railroad. They may have been looking at the ultimate interchange. For the phase 1 project, the northbound ramps will basically be configured pretty close to what's out there today. They'll start where the existing northbound ramps intersection is, and they'll just they'll be barrier separated. So that will be a safety upgrade versus today, the northbound off ramp and on ramp basically right next to each other with no separation. So with this phase 1 project shown in green, the ramps there, they'll have a barrier separating the on and off ramp. There will also be permanent lighting there, and the transition points will be lengthened and reduced access points. So there'd be less driveway access immediately near the on-ramp. So those are all safety improvements that the phase 1 project will implement.
Thank you, Carson. One additional question. Will the 101 southbound 3-lane continue from Monterey to the new 25?
Wait, can you repeat that question?
Yeah. Will the 101 southbound 3-lane continue from Monterey to the new 25?
Oh, So basically, could you go to slide 15? Kind of shows the overview. So basically, we're not really doing construction north of Castro Valley Road, which is on the very right side of the screen here. So we're not really doing any improvements on 101 to the north of there towards Monterey. So what's out there today will remain on the main line of 101 until you get to this project area shown here. And then even then, we're not really doing much in the 101. We're just basically shifting it over a little bit, but we're not adding any lanes to 101. We're just reconfiguring the ramps at the interchange. Hopefully that answers the question.
Hey, David, if I want to add a little bit into that, may I?
Absolutely.
Sure. So I want to also mention that during constructions, whatever the existing number of lanes we have on US 101, none of the lanes will be taken out during constructions. They all will be in place while we do construction. So I just want to mention.
Thank you, Brock. Thank you, Carson. I actually wanted to go back. There was a question that I missed towards the beginning when people were putting in comments. There was a question about a roundabout. So we have a new signal that we're putting in from the off-ramp to the 25. So the question is, why not a roundabout on that off-ramp? So was that part of the initial designs and eventually decided on a signal, or why signal, not roundabout, I guess is the question.
Yeah, we looked at a ton of alternatives when we were developing this phase 1 project, and we looked at a diverging diamond interchange, direct connectors, connection from Santa Teresa to the off ramp. There are all sorts of configurations that we looked at, but ultimately we ended up on this phase 1 configuration you see here because it provided the most safety benefits and operational improvements. So as part of the process, we actually do it's called an intersection control evaluation at the intersections. And we basically look at different ways to control the intersection. And that did include a roundabout configuration, just providing stop signs at all the intersection legs, and also the traffic signals, which we ended up on. So again, it was based on the evaluation, the traffic signals that we're proposing provided the best operational benefits and safety for the design.
Thank you, Carson. And I just wanted to go back to part of the communications that we plan to do. It's also important to know that we've done our in-person meetings to try and get everybody to meet the team, answer questions in person. We also offer virtual because, quite frankly, a lot of times it's the most convenient out of being able to get information, and we can record it and push it out there. But I also want to offer our services and communication to come to you. If you have a neighborhood association, an HOA that has meetings, or that there's a community group that would love this presentation, whether in English or in Spanish, we can come to you. So I wanted to put up this information again, community.outreach@vta.org, and our phone number, and invite us. We'll bring this presentation to you. I think we got it down to maybe about 15, 20 minutes. Maybe we can get it down a little more, but we'll see. We wanted to offer us to come to you. It's always easy to bring this information to you, however fit. If you have specific questions about this project, and we can kind of tailor our presentations. We are planning to visit Morgan Hill City Council soon and provide a brief presentation on this. We look forward to working with the communities and continually providing this information. If you signed up for this project, you will also be notified when the quarterly mobility partnership meetings are held. These are virtual, these are hybrid, and you can zoom in and not only hear about this project update, but also the upcoming projects. Phase 2, Santa Teresa Road Extension, information on 152. There's a lot of projects that are happening in South County, and I'm really excited. I'm a South County resident myself. So being assigned and in charge of communication within my own community is very exciting, and I'm glad to be a part of it. One last question, and then maybe we can wrap up. And again, if we didn't get to your answer, or if you have questions after this, please send them to us, and we'll be able to follow up with you. But I did have one question. With the traffic signal that's being put in on the off ramps, is that going to be timed, or how is that going to be coordinated? Is it signal optimization? And maybe you can explain what that means, because I know we use that term.
Yeah, I'm not the traffic operations expert. It's probably David question, but yeah, generally the intersections, interchanges are configured to optimize traffic flow, and that typically has to do with timing and signal detection, vehicle detection. So it can be tweaked one way or the other, but I think it would probably be optimized to minimize any traffic that backs up onto 101, since that's potentially a safety concern. Yeah, so they'll be optimized. There may be like a period where they're figuring that out after it's constructed to optimize the timing of the signals, but they will be synchronized with each other, and they will try to minimize backups onto the freeway.
Thank you, Carson.
Yeah, David,
Yeah,
I'm
Rob.
sorry. And that's my understanding too. The signal lights operations, that's how it works. They are designed to optimize the traffic flow. And they are not on fixed cycle as the question is being asked here. So there.
Thank you very much. I also wanted to put up the slide about subscribing, visiting the project webpage, put in your email, and it'll ask you just confirm that you are who you say you are, and you'll start getting these updates. For example, when this presentation is put on the project webpage, you'll be notified. When Bharat provides us a construction schedule a little bit more solidified, you'll be notified. So I want to thank everybody for attending this very detailed pre-construction meeting. I want to thank Carson, Bharat for providing us a lot of the information. I want to thank Avita, who's on our Spanish channel, providing information in Spanish, and my boss, Kathleen, for driving the slides and keeping everybody up to date on what we're seeing. And so with that, we're going to end the presentation. I look forward to working with this community, working with our cities, working with Caltrans to get everybody up to date and moving along as swiftly as possible. So thank you, everybody.